today we are in the Brookside Sobeys Community Room with Buffy Wasson, the
Hi.
Fredericton Boyce Farmers Market Coordinator. How are you, Buffy? Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
So today we'll be celebrating carrots. We'll be talking about carrots, and I'm going to show you my favorite way to eat carrots other than raw is having it in a nice carrot cake. Everyone likes soup. Everyone makes a salad with it, but I mean, nothing better than a cake. Nothing
Right?
better than
Who
a
doesn't
carrot
like cake?
And who doesn't like carrot cake? So before we get started on this, Buffy, let's talk about the market. Can you give me a little bit of history?
It first started over where the Crown Plaza is currently. So just down from the barracks, there was a market house there. And then a few years later, when the city became a city, they wanted to move it. So it moved down to Phoenix Square. So it resided there for another 40 years or so, and then they built City Hall. And the market was like the grocery store, right? So it was the first level of City Hall, and that was there for many, many years. Like late 1800s, so it still existed in Phoenix Square. It was in City Hall. And then it was probably in the late 1800s when William Walter Boyce came over from England with his dad. And he fell in love, he met May, and they went and built a farm in Lincoln. And their biggest their biggest production was turnip. And they sold turnip at the market at Phoenix Square. And then they sold it in Boston and Montreal. Like, they would go on railway cars with this abundance of turnip and go all the way down there and sell it. He was a big contributor to the community. The Victoria Health Center, like one of the wings there, that was him. That was a donation. Wow. He did well. They didn't have kids, and they contributed to the community. So back in 1950 is when he passed. One of the things that came out of his will is that any of these 200 farmers, or most of them, he wanted their bills wiped. They were all forgiven.
Wow.
And there was this one farmer that came in, legend has it, and he came in to pay his bill, and they said, no, it's all wiped, it's forgiven. And he actually passed out. He fainted from the shock. They had to revive him, and he came to. But the other thing that came out of the will was a $40,000 gift to the city and the municipality to create a market house that was, separate from the city hall, that it's its own standing. And so that happened within a year. But the interesting part of the story is the city actually sent the check back and said, that's not enough. Like, we can't do that. We appreciate the offer, but we're good with Phoenix Square, and we're going to keep going there. And May, being like a strong woman and one that wanted to honor her husband's wishes, sent it back and said, absolutely not, make it happen. And they did. And it wasn't that long, because the market was built in 1951.
That's fantastic. That's a great story. And
Isn't it?
And how many vendors do we have today?
Oh, goodness. We, in the summer months, we're like 200 plus. Yeah, it's a lot. So inside the building, there's 198 stalls that we have inside the building.
So the tradition continues, like you said, over 150 plus years, which is fantastic. Nice to see that Mr. Boyce was definitely an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and engaged in his community. I mean, it'd be nice to see. There are a lot of people like that here in town.
There are.
But it'd be nice to see more and things like that, it's a great story, and it's nice to know that Frederictonians are always stepping up to the plate, which I kind of want to put a highlight on that as well.
Yes, exactly. So it still has that roots of his intention, right? That community gathering place, vendors and farmers being able to sell their wares, the community being able to buy fresh and local, and it is a gathering place. Like, it's still, the number one thing to do on TripAdvisor for Fredericton. When you Google that, we're still always landing in the top 10 markets in Canada.
So I enjoy the market. Mm-hmm. At one point, I was a vendor selling my wares. It's a great way for people to kind of dip their toe into the market without any big thing. But like you were saying, that we're one of the best markets in Canada.
Yes.
What do you think makes us the best market in Canada?
Oh, it's 100%. It's the longevity of it, and it's the vendors. When you have to get up, some vendors get up at 2 in the morning to make it. Yes. When you have to do that, and you are working all week long, when you land there, you are invested. It is your house. It is your place. And that kind of historical commitment, it just transcends to the whole market. There's a joyfulness in setting up. Like if I were to tape setting up the market, it's the laughter, and who's laughing at 4 a.m.? But they are, right? And that energy, it just flows through the entire market. And then what you're also doing is you're bringing so many different nationalities together. And when you do that, it's the world.
No, you're absolutely. And I've seen over the past years the influx of international food coming to the market. I go to the market. Some go for their staples, their eggs, their vegetables, their meat. A lot of people, like myself, go for that. Yes, but I go for the food in the courtyard.
Yes.
We go to the meat. When we were selling, and you're right, those vendors are fantastic. I mean, that spirit of bartering still happens.
I know.
It still happens.
Isn't that fantastic?
It is.
I know. Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. It just, people want to go to something that has history to it, that has roots to it, and that's why they come. Like our tourism in the summer, we love it. Like people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm here from England," and I'm like, "This isn't just people in the Maritimes know us. We are known all around the world. People will go back and talk about it, or they'll send a message, or on Facebook they'll comment like, "Oh, I came from the Ukraine a few years ago, and I bought this, and I still have it, and it's amazing."
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting.
Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, we are in the community room here at Brookside Sobeys with Buffy Wasson, coordinator for the Fredericton Boys Farmers Market. So, Buffy, what we're going to do is we're going to start making this carrot cake. It's super easy. We're just going to start by mixing our wet ingredients. So, to the bowl, we're just going to add some white sugar and some brown sugar. And then I am going to put in just a little bit of vegetable oil.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our vanilla in here just like this.
Vanilla makes everything better.
It does. It's one of those things, if you don't notice that it's not there, but when it is there, it just makes that extra nice.
Right.
We're going to add a couple eggs.
Yep.
Right like this. And I find that carrot cake tends to get dry, so to add a little bit of moisture to it.
Yeah.
Some people will add pineapple, and some people like myself would rather add a little bit of applesauce.
I would like that too. I think we do need to talk about how amazing that egg crack was with one hand.
That's just practice.
Yeah, no.
It's years and years of practice.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
So all we're going to do now is we just kind of mix everything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking carrots today. I'm sure that there's a lot of vegetables that walk through the door at the farmer's market.
Indeed.
How many vendors or how many vegetable vendors do you think you get this time of year when they start coming? Because they are coming back. In the wintertime, they're not there.
Well, no, I have 4 staple farmers
inside,
that are there.
Right?
Inside, yes. Yeah. And then my outside will expand to up to probably 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, my inside sells. That's the great thing about carrots and other root vegetables is that you can continue on all year long and selling. So you can always come and buy local root vegetables all year long at the market. And the other thing that we have at the market too is a microgreen grower. So Nice Family Farms comes in and you can get microgreens all year long. Add them to your smoothies, to your salads. But yeah, carrots are amazing.
Right on. So speaking of carrots, we're just going to add our carrots to this mix right here.
Shred it so nicely.
You can shred it. Shredding's the best way to do it. You can big shreds like this or smaller shreds. I like to taste and feel the carrot peeling in the muffin itself.
Yeah.
So I find it nice, just like this.
So are you a cooked carrot guy or a raw carrot guy?
I'm a raw carrot guy. All my vegetables, especially root vegetables, I do enjoy raw.
Raw. Okay. Well, you're probably going to want to change your mind because did you know that a cooked carrot is one of the few vegetables that has more nutritional value than it does when it's raw?
No, I did not know that.
It does, yeah.
Well, how does that work? Do you know?
Well, not 100%, but I know that, so the main nutrition it is beta-carotene.
Yes.
And then the body converts that to vitamin A. And then vitamin A is good to prevent some cancers. It's good for eyesight, right? We all know that. Eat your carrots so you have good eyes. Cancers, immune system. It's really good for the immune system. and it's good for acne. So carrots actually, no matter where you are in your life, it's beneficial. When you're younger, it's good for acne, prevention of cancer, immune system, and then when you're older, you're like, I'm glad I ate so many carrots, so my eyes aren't so bad.
Well, there you go. And I guess the cooking process probably releases those. I guess that would be the explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So we're going to add our dry ingredients to this. So we usually mix our dry separate from our wet. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to add our baking powder and our baking soda. And there's a little bit of salt in my soda as well.
Okay.
Always salt in sweet, and people always wonder why. And that's just to kind of balance flavors. That's what salt does, is it kind of balances flavors.
Because you really notice it when it's not there.
You do.
You do.
Absolutely.
It's like a
and if
blend.
you're using salted butter, then you omit the salt in the recipe because the salt, you want to be able to control the amount of salt that's in there.
So that's why it says in some recipes unsalted butter. I'm not a baker.
Yeah.
I like meals. I like to cook meals, but that's why it says that. Then.
Well, that's it. And I'm a believer of not buying two different kind of butters. So I buy the salted butter for my savory applications. And when I bake, I just kind of adjust the amount of salt that I put into my baking.
Because you're smart enough to know that.
And there we go. And then we'll just add our spice. So the spice is a little bit of ginger, a little bit of cinnamon, and a little bit of nutmeg.
Ooh, yum.
We're just going to kind of mix that all together, just like this.
Blends up nice.
There we go. So, and then we're just going to mix all of this together, just like that. So carrots kind of have a story for us here at the Greener Village as well. We have a perishable food center that's going up, and we've raised a lot of money, and people may have heard about that. We always start off with the story. Our carrot story is that the idea sparked because one day a tractor trailer load from Ontario came in, and it was full of carrots, thousands and thousands of pounds of carrots.
Okay.
So we got these carrots in, and we were giving them out as much as we could, but we realized that we couldn't give them all away, and we couldn't share them without them before they went bad.
Oh, okay.
So we decided, how do we stop this? We know that these foods are coming, and if we don't take care of it, then farmers who can sell them usually dig a big hole, bury them.
Right.
Or we didn't want it to become animal feed. We wanted to be able to feed the people. So we realized if we created this center, then we can take more than just carrots and flash freeze them, and then they'll be good all year long. So the idea sparked from this big load of carrots that we got from a benefactor.
That's amazing. What a great story.
So here we go. So everything's all mixed up, just like this. Now, some people like, some people don't like, but I add raisins, and the reason why I add raisins to mine is just because I could hear my grandmother's voice behind me. Carrot cake needs raisins. So, or nuts. You can also add walnuts
I'm
or
a nut
pecans to
fan.
that as well.
Yes.
Or any kind of add-ins. If you have a sweet tooth or a sweeter tooth, I mean, I've seen people put chocolate chips or butterscotch chips or anything like that. You
really?
can kind of
I
make it
didn't
your
see
own,
that.
right? You just have to remember that when you're adding these add-ins in, it's no more than like a half cup because you don't want to drown it with the add-ins.
Right.
You really want to make sure that it's
Just kind of complements a little extra.
exactly.
Okay.
There
Awesome.
we go. So that's pretty much it. Just like this. Then all we're going to do is we're just going to grab this muffin tin, which I pre-greased, and you're going to notice that a lot of people put you'll put muffin cups
Yes.
in there. I find with carrot cake, I like the caramelization. I like the crunchy bits on my muffins. So if you put a cup in there, you don't get that nice
Yes.
crunchy bit. So what I do is I make sure that these are greased really, really well, and then I pop it in just like that, and then that's what it is. It gives that nice brown, the caramelization that I like from the carrot
Just
cake.
saying caramelization. I know I like it now.
There we go. And so all we're going to do, and this is a trick that I learned the other day, which is really cool to get really big, fluffy muffins, is that you overfill just a little bit, and you don't fill every one. You go every second one.
Brilliant. I will
And
never
that's if you
apply
want.
this, but
And that's if you want one of those big store type muffins,
who
right?
doesn't? Because then you take it off and you get that crunchy muffin top. And now the way you're doing it, you're going to have the crunchy muffin bottom.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yum.
Here we go. Now, because I'm doing it like that, we're going to get a smaller yield, but that's okay.
That's okay. I see. As long as there's one for me.
There we go. Perfect. So what we usually do is we set their oven at about 375 to 400. We slide them in there and we cook them until they're done. So about 20, 22 minutes. Or when you put a toothpick in or you put a knife in, if it comes out clean, then you're good to go.
Okay.
So we're just going to toss these muffins in the oven and we'll be back after this short break. Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, I'm here with Buffy Wasson, coordinator of the Fredericton Boyce Farmers Market. And our muffins are still in the oven, but who can have carrot muffins without cream cheese icing?
Not me.
So I'm going to show you how to make a quick cream cheese icing while these are working, and then we'll go from there. Super easy. You take 1 block of cream cheese. You add a couple tablespoons of butter.
Ooh.
And then what I do is I add just a little bit of vanilla. Again, that vanilla just adds that extra little layer.
Yes.
A little bit of salt. I find that really brings out the sweetness of the cream cheese. I find cream cheese a little bit tart, but you'll pull out a little bit of sweetness with the salt.
Okay.
And then we're going to add tons of icing sugar. So this will absorb about 2 cups of icing sugar, if you believe it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm just going to mix this up best I can. Get this nice and soft. Here we go. And do your best and try not to get splashed around.
Oh, part of the process of cooking.
All part of the process, yeah. So once that's all nice mixed, so you'll just kind of add that in batches, because if we don't,
it's gonna
then
go poof.
we'll be wearing it. Absolutely.
That's funny.
Just kind of whip it together like that.
Yes. Oh, that's coming together.
It is. Coming together and we're making a huge mess. Here we go. I'm just going to taste that here. You don't have to add the full amount. It's just, I think that works right there.
Really?
You let me know.
Okay. Let's have a little taste. Oh my word. Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Super. So now that spring has sprung, and you were saying that in the winter months, there's always root vegetables like carrots, like turnip, the way the market kind of started, and all that other kind of fun stuff. And then your microgreens vendor who's bringing in fresh vegetables. But now that spring is happening, what kind of vegetables are we going to see here in the next few weeks coming?
Well, all the magic has already started in the hothouses, right? So we've got seedlings growing and things, but the next thing, so spinach actually launched last weekend. Wow. So we actually had two vendors with spinach last weekend. And so it's your kind of cold vegetables that start first. So we'll see some asparagus coming along, and then rhubarb, which is like a favorite and so diverse.
Absolutely,
like you could whip up so many things with rhubarb here.
Yeah.
Then we will flow into fiddleheads. So the market is wild when fiddleheads launch. Like people are coming even earlier to make sure that they get them before they're sold out. Like because the first couple of weeks as they launch, it becomes they can only bring so many, and then there's like a plethora. Because like I say, we have outside there's probably at least 15 farmers that are out there. And then we would go, I believe it would be like your lettuces will start to come, your broccolis, strawberry season. Just all summer long, there's a launch, right? With fruits and vegetables, and then it'll go on to corn, which is, everybody's favorite season. And then all the vegetables flow in there, right? You've got your broccolis, you've got your cauliflowers and your kale and just so many different ones. And then flow into fall with like your apples and your pumpkins. Throughout the summer, you're going to get your watermelons. It's constant.
The market doesn't just have that. They also have artisans that come and sell stuff, right? So
and top shelf artisans. Like, we have our leather maker who just belts and purses. And then we have like beautiful artists and fabric makers. And, in the winter, there's lots of mittens. There's an array of things that you could leave for gifts, but then you have things like honey, right? And your maple syrup, like the complements that go with the food. It's really quite an exceptional market with the diversity that you can get there. And then our potters, right beside Martin, we have one, and then we have another one over in the original section of the building, Baden Creek Pottery, Smiley Seahorse Pottery. So that's a great contribution. And then our market, we have Boyce Farmers Market mugs that we have created as well as pottery. So.
Well, I noticed that the few times that I come in that you guys have really started branding yourselves. You can actually get like the aprons that you're wearing.
Yes, you can get this apron there.
So if you have a great idea and you want to share with Fredericton, how does one get themselves into the Boyce Farmers Market? I know that it's hard.
It
Sometimes
is.
there's a waiting list.
There
but,
is. We have a waiting list situation now, but that's ever evolving, right? So if you want to apply, you go to the website and apply, or you can send it to the email, just manager@frederictonboycefarmersmarket.ca.
Is there kind of a hole to fill for something that you're kind of looking for?
Not right now. And I've had that question asked me, like, tell me what you want, and I'll make it. And I'll make it. And it's like, no, I need you to inspire me. Tell me what you can come up with. What's your originality? And it's interesting. I have some vendors who have this great culture background that have come in and said, okay, I want to make grilled cheese sandwiches. And I'm like, no, you have a history behind you. You have a country with unique foods. Go back to the drawing board, think about your roots, and then come back to me with something like that.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've had success stories. There's people that are selling at market that have a brick and mortar, and they've kind of grown out of the smaller stalls and into, like I said, they've got their own four walls.
Right, and that has just happened with one of our summer vendors, Hattie Happy Designs. She has been a vendor here at the Fredericton Boyce Farmers Market. She's been a vendor at the Garrison Night Market.
Yep.
And she went to Toronto and did a show, and she's actually opening a store in Fredericton brick and mortar this year.
Our muffins are out. They're huge, they're big, they look really delicious. So we're just going to kind of unmold them. So just carefully kind of run your knife. You don't want to cut that whole muffin top off, and just kind of wiggle them. There it is, right like that. We got the one right like this. And then I'll just get the small one out for me. I've already had my breakfast today, so it's a little taste for me.
Yeah, I still want the big boy.
That's all right.
That's like a normal size there.
A normal size. So typically what we would do is we take them out like that.
Yep.
We let them cool off, and then we would just put a little bit of cream cheese icing on them, and we go from there. I know we don't want to wait, so what I'll do is just grab a little bit of icing for you, just like that. There we are.
Yum.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on south of the border and all these crazy tariffs. Have you seen an impact on the market?
You know what, we have, because people are, we had a base of local shoppers for a long time, but people are so conscious about it now and how important it is to support their Canadians and how good it is for our economy. And they're showing up, and they're showing up in bigger numbers than they have in a very long time. And our vendors are there for them, and they're planting more, they're preparing for the season so that they have top quality products, locally grown, locally produced, and brought to you. So they are Friday afternoons in the fields cutting to our market Saturday morning to your table Saturday afternoon.
Can't get any fresher than that, can it?
It's impossible.
That's fantastic. So before we dig into these muffins,
Yes.
let's remind everyone again, it runs every Saturday, but let's get some times.
Okay, every Saturday from 7 a.m. till 1 p.m. And there's no Saturday close. We've been open in hurricanes, loss of power would be the only thing that could shut us down. So, and Christmas Day.
Thank you so much.
Well,
and,
thank you for having me.
and,
Holy, look at this. I'm going to need 2 hands to pick it up.
Perfect. So, take a bite. Let me know what you think.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you.